bands playing throughout town. So we're the last band to play for the evening here. And then everything starts up at the seminary tomorrow with a number of brass bands out on the other side of town. We are the Antebellum Marine Band. We're not British. People think because we have red coats we're British, but since its inception in 1798 as the oldest military band of the United States, the Marine Band has always worn scarlet tunics. And it has a lot to do with Marine tradition. The British Royal Marines wear red, but their bands wear blue. So because of many of the traditions taken from the British Marines for the U.S. Marines, since the U.S. Marines wear blue coats, we thought the band should wear red coats as well. So we represent the band at about 1865 in appearance. Francis Scala was the director. He was an Italian opera clarinetist. One of his trombone players, you might know his last name, was Antonio Sousa. His son, John Philip, was born in 1854 in Washington City. He was not yet in the band during the Civil War, but much of what our program will represent, you can understand as we go through how that was influenced on John Philip Sousa for the type of music that he would write for the Marine Band and become its 12th director. So, at the time of the Civil War, the Marine Band was not yet known as the President's Own, but it was a period when the band started understanding that with the Lincolns preferring the type of music they played, that was going to be their ticket to continuing their existence. And it was discovered that the Lincolns loved opera music. Now, Francis Scala had been an Italian opera musician, and he brought many of his fellow opera players back to the United States to play in the Marine Band with him when he was hired. More about that later. So you'll find we're going to play a lot of patriotic marches, some European marches, and some opera music as well. But another thing the band would play, they would play at dances all across Washington City. They were almost in competition with a lot of the bands that would play for promenades and ceremonial performances. So we're going to play a polonaise for you now, which is a waltz in a very grand style. And you might recognize one of the melodies in this waltz medley as the Last Rose of Summer. So we're going to play that one now. If you know how to waltz, you're welcome to come out and join us for that. Right? It's military.
Right.
But to American ears, it doesn't quite sound American, does it? No. So Scala is frantically trying, because along with this, they're still playing at these dances, and Scala has used the lineups from the various opera houses. If an opera was popular one season, he found that if he scored that music from that opera for the band, he could kind of ride that tide of popularity with the band. But that wasn't holding out with the military people that they had to play for, and they wanted something much more American. They started referring to it in the papers as that infernal spaghetti music. So this next selection is not a true period selection, but it is an original composition for the band. It's something I did as I was already retired from the Marine Corps. I was a band leader in the Marines. As a band leader, you have to write and arrange. And that's a fine tradition that goes all the way back into this time period as well. So I was still living in San Diego, and here's the story behind this. There was an adobe brick town hall in the little town of Ramona that was built in 1894. So the band I had in California was asked to play. And we were a Sousa type band, so it seemed right that we should create a march to play. So I wrote this march intending it to be very much like a Sousa march, and it fits ideally with this whole notion it should sound American. So you have to judge for yourselves at the end of this if it sounds American or not. Oh, I should tell you, it's called the Town Hall Quickstep. Yes, all the beats are good. Good old standard one.